is the best fighter on the planet. Pound for pound, he's that dude. In this four-belt era, he is now the undisputed world champion 3 times over. 140 pounds, 147, now 168 pounds.
And Bud was the best. I got to give it to him. Bud the best right. He's hands down. He's the best. He's the best right now. I don't think nobody need to question him no more. I mean, you kind of got to give him respect no matter what. You got to give him respect. He just went up 2 weight classes what people said he couldn't do. He's doing everything that people say he can't do.
I've been a world champion, as you know, and I've been a 3-division world champion. I've only won 1 of the belts. I don't know what it is to be undisputed. I don't know that feeling. Do you understand? What he did last night is unbelievable.
Stephen A. Smith confronted Floyd Mayweather for dismissing Terence Crawford after his win over Canelo. Smith argued that Crawford achieved something historic, noting that no fighter had ever matched his feat of becoming undisputed in multiple divisions. He insisted Crawford earned every piece of his legacy and deserved universal credit, not criticism. According to Smith, Crawford's victory over Canelo wasn't just another win, but a landmark moment that elevated him among the all-time greats. He stressed that Mayweather's negativity couldn't overshadow Crawford's remarkable achievement.
Is the best fighter on the planet. Pound for pound, he's that dude. In this four-belt era, he is now the undisputed world champion 3 times over. 140 pounds, 147, now 168 pounds, claiming all the belts. You don't see people doing that very often. Going up against a guy who was perceived as being bigger and stronger, Crawford was strong. Crawford was strong enough to fend him off, strong enough to make him respect his own power. He used his jab, he used his distance.
Jeff Mayweather voiced strong opinions about the shock Crawford delivered to Canelo, stressing that the defeat will always leave a scar on Canelo's legacy. In his view, Canelo was the undisputed ruler of that division, holding both authority and dominance over rivals. Yet he fell to a man who dared to step up in weight and challenge him on his own throne. For Jeff, this wasn't a minor blemish but a stain that will forever sit beside Canelo's name in boxing lore. He underlined how prime champions are remembered by defining moments, and Canelo's defining moment became a crushing defeat to Crawford.
But either way, he was in discussion certainly with Chavez. What did this do to his legacy? Because I don't think he caught, the Floyd fight didn't give him, people didn't really look down on him because even though he had 40 fights, he was still, fighting one of the greatest ever in an absolute master. In Bivol, he went up weight classes to win. But now he's fighting a smaller guy, a great fighter, but a smaller guy. Does this damage his legacy in any way?
I think it does. I think it does because, the one thing is this, is that, you were ruling, you were the king of that weight class. And the king of that weight class for a good while. And I think that, he had a huge following because, he became the face of boxing.
And even though it's another, future Hall of Famer, still losing a guy come up a couple weight classes, kind of makes you seem not as great as you might have been.
Stephen A. Smith was blown away by Crawford's triumph and openly voiced his admiration. He emphasized that being present for the historic moment made the win more personal to witness. According to Smith, no one in boxing history has accomplished what Terence Crawford just did, moving up in weight to defeat a dominant champion like Canelo so decisively. He called it a career-defining triumph that sets Crawford apart, ensuring that this night will live forever in boxing's rich history. For Smith, it wasn't merely a fight, but a monumental shift in how greatness is measured in the sport.
This was Terence "Bud" Crawford moving up 2 weight divisions, really 3 in my mind, because he only fought 1 fight at the junior middleweight division. So he's really moving up from 147 pounds, okay? Terence "Bud" Crawford moving up to the 168-pound limit in an effort to claim the undisputed super middleweight championship of the world from the grasp of Saul Canelo Alvarez. Now I was there because let me tell you something right now. There's very, very few sporting events in the world that are better than a super fight in Vegas. I can tell you that right now. There's very, very few events. props to Nick Khan of the WWE.
Crawford's trainer made it clear after the fight that his boxer had nothing left to prove. In his eyes, Terence has reached the point where respect should be automatic. Yet, some critics still refuse to grant it. This frustration highlighted the reality that despite dismantling one of boxing's greatest, Crawford is still facing narratives outside the ring. His trainer stressed that Terence isn't even thinking about another bout right now, because what he did against Canelo is more than enough to secure his greatness. For Crawford, it's no longer about chasing opponents, but about establishing a legacy beyond dispute.
Terence Crawford and his well-renowned trainer, two-time trainer of the year and future Hall of Fame trainer, Brian Bomac McIntyre, recently did an interview in which Bomac stated that a fight is not happening. And this particular fight is a fight that everybody wanted to see Canelo Alvarez take, and Canelo Alvarez refused to take this fight with a 28-year-old two-division world champion, reigning WBC light heavyweight, former two-time WBC super middleweight, the Mexican Ecuadorian superstar boxer, who's one of my favorite fighters and a great person, David, the Mexican Ecuadorian monster Benavidez, who is 30 wins, no loss, no draw, 24 wins by way of knockout, stands at 6'2" with a 75-inch arm reach and fights at 175. But the entire time David Benavidez was fighting at 168, Canelo Alvarez was brought up and he never accepted the fight. And so with that said, now people are trying to project this fight on Terence Crawford. And they're saying that Terence Crawford needs to take the fight. So Bomac yesterday did an interview and Bomac said they're not fighting David Benavidez. And so now people are pushing this notion that Terence Crawford is ducking and Terence Crawford is scared of David Benavidez. And if he don't fight David Benavidez, according to Boxing News 24,
Timothy Bradley gave perhaps the boldest take, comparing Crawford directly with Floyd Mayweather. He claimed Crawford's name now belongs at the very top of any greatest of all time discussion. For Bradley, it wasn't just about Crawford defeating Canelo. It was about redefining the meaning of pound-for-pound supremacy. He argued that while Floyd may have mastered boxing in his era, Crawford just proved he can perform at an even higher level by beating Canelo at his strongest. In Bradley's view, this win elevated Crawford into a different realm, where only the sport's absolute legends reside.
It might be too late now. It might be too late, because guess what? He done. Ain't nothing else he needs to do. Ain't nothing else he needs to do in boxing. Yep, y'all doubt him now? Y'all doubt him now? I saw some of y'all goofies on y'all channels. You come here and you get the real over here. That's what you get over here. You want the real? You want a real breakdown from a real fighter, a Hall of Famer? That's what you do. You come right here and you gonna get the real and you gonna get the truth. Dang it, that's what you gonna get. Leave them other lames alone and come right on over here. Yeah, and get the truth and nothing but the truth. I've been trying to tell y'all for years about this. Been trying to tell y'all for years about Terence Crawford. Everybody put his resume down.
Roy Jones Jr. gave a balanced perspective, noting that unlike when Floyd Mayweather beat Canelo years ago, this time both fighters were in their prime. He explained that Floyd had the advantage of facing a young, inexperienced Canelo, which allowed him to outbox him with superior skill and IQ. By contrast, Crawford fought a seasoned and dominant version of Canelo, the one who had ruled his division for years. Despite being naturally smaller, Crawford still managed to dismantle him. For Roy, that fact alone made Crawford's win extraordinary, as he overcame a stronger, wiser, and sharper Canelo than the one Floyd faced.
Generational great in Canelo Alvarez, really 3 weights above his natural weight class. Does that put him in the conversation with the likes of yourself as the greatest fighter of all time?
Yes, it does, and the reason it does is because he couldn't get the credibility down in his own weight class, so he went up to go challenge himself to fight it, and he found a very formidable, good opponent.
Do you think Canelo Alvarez is on the decline or not?
No, I don't think he's on decline at all.
So you think both fighters are still at their peak, even though they're 36, 37?
Yeah, I think they're both still at their peak. The age for Crawford would seem like he may be beyond it, but he hasn't had the fights, the tough fights we put him there. And the years of boxing for Canelo when I put them in a position where they're about equal. So I think they both are pretty much in a great place. I think they're both still in their primes, and this is the best time to see them fight.
Duke McKenzie was left stunned by what unfolded in the ring. In his eyes, Canelo had no response to Crawford's constant pressure, speed, and sharp accuracy. He described the showing as unbelievable and remarkable, calling it one of the most complete performances ever seen in modern boxing. McKenzie stressed that Crawford not only became undisputed, but also showed himself to be nearly untouchable against even the hardest opponents. His tone carried both awe and respect as he made clear that Crawford has now set a bar so high that very few fighters, if any, will ever match it.
Know that feeling. Do you understand? What he did last night is unbelievable. He's a 3-time undisputed world champion, and he's beaten the best of the best. Now, for me, there were red flags way before this fight. Not way before the fight. You know, in the build-up to this fight, Canelo's body language in the run-up to this fight. You know, he turned up in Vegas in his stretch limo, in his Armani suit. He's had his kids and his wife in the back of the car, and he's got out and he's strolling around like he owns the gaff. Now, all that signified to me was a very comfortable man. He was too comfortable. And Terence Crawford just kept it real from the outset. Tracksuit, no nonsense, went there to win, said what he was going to do, told the world what he was going to do long before the fight. I think he asked for this fight many years ago. The discussion he had with Bill Haney, and I think it was him that actually suggested call out Canelo, which he laughed at the beginning, but then it came to fruition, and now it's come to fruition. I mean, what you saw in that fight yesterday, what I watched in that fight yesterday, it was for the purists. It really was, because you really have to try and understand boxing and know what you're looking at. It was the feints. It was the way that he handled the bigger man. It was the little feints, the little side steps, the little flicking with the jabs. You know, hitting him with the head and the body. The little combinations, the little 2s and 3s, and also with Crawford knowing how to close around, knowing how to win rounds.
Trainer Robert Garcia delivered one of the strongest endorsements of Crawford's greatness, claiming he had done more than Floyd Mayweather in this context. He pointed out that Crawford dominated 9 to 10 rounds against Canelo and showed a relentless hunger that Floyd never attempted at such a high-risk level. Garcia argued that Mayweather never took the chance of moving up to defeat a bigger champion in this way, making Crawford's victory unique and historic. For Garcia, this wasn't about titles or numbers. It was about daring to risk everything and succeeding, the true mark separating legends from icons.
Canelo has already accomplished too much, has already done too much, and he wasn't. I don't see that hunger in him anymore. I don't see those changes anymore. He fights flat-footed, throws one punch at a time. He's not fast anymore, and that's why I picked Crawford by decision.
Are you surprised at how easy it was?
Look, not that I'm surprised, because what I just told you, I think Crawford is very talented, and Crawford is hungry to become a legend. He wanted to become that three-division undisputed. He wanted to go up, he wanted to make history by going up 2 divisions to beat Canelo, one of the greatest of all time. So he was hungry for it. I think Canelo has already done so much, has made so much money, that he's not hungry anymore.
Do you think possibly that Crawford is up there with Pacquiao or Mayweather?
I think in accomplishments, he's three division undisputed, moved up 2 divisions to beat Canelo. So he's probably he's accomplished more than Mayweather for sure. Mayweather never became undisputed, but that doesn't mean he's better than Mayweather. I think in a fight at welterweight, Mayweather in his prime would beat Crawford, and Pacquiao in his prime would probably beat Crawford. But Crawford has accomplished more.
Do you think Crawford should retire after this or fight someone else?
Look, I think a rematch would be fucking good for Crawford to just beat him again and do the same thing. If Canelo doesn't have any changes, if he doesn't, he needs to do a lot of changes. Canelo needs to do a lot of changes. I think a rematch would do triple the money that he did in this fight and then retire. But I would be so happy to hear he retires.
That's all for today's video. Make sure to stay tuned, because more coverage is on the way. Until next time.